A lot of the British public, I think, will feel incredibly jaded by the hundreds of millions of pounds that we've tossed at the French with little to no return, the inability of our European friends and their security services to stop the manufacture and transportation of these boats. We also know that migrants are kept in shocking camps, UN camps as well, in Turkey. That doesn't get anywhere near the amount of criticism compared to boats like the Bibi Stockholm, for example. Why is it going to be any different now if we lob a load of money at the Turks?
It's not in itself, Patrick. And just one thing on the Bibi Stockholm that I'd like to mention, having watched your sort of introduction to this. The Bibi boats or vessels similar to the Bibi Stockholm were used for years to accommodate British servicemen and women down in the Falkland Islands. Nobody complained about that. They didn't complain. Nobody else complained. It was just, it was accommodation. It was practical. It was clean. It was tidy, and it was functional, which is all you need, and it's safe. But no, this isn't going to have a huge impact in itself. There are 5 major routes, if you like, that come into the southern and southeastern flank of Europe in terms of people smuggling and migration. There's the West African route. There's the Western Mediterranean route up through Morocco and Algeria. There's the central route, which comes up through Libya. Then there's an East African route, which comes up Sudan and in the Horn of Africa up through Egypt. And then you have the Eastern Mediterranean route, which is what we're talking about now, the Turkish angle of it. And those are predominantly people from Iraq, Iran, Syria, Afghanistan, some from Central Asia and so on. But as I understand it, because the information on this agreement is a little bit scant at the moment, but as I understand it, the part of this agreement is to set up a training centre where the Brits are going to help the Turks to develop the techniques to deal with transnational organised crime and people smuggling through Turkey. But in my experience, having done this myself, having worked with other countries, that's not going to have a big impact. There are all sorts of reasons for that. They're institutional, they're cultural, they're related to corruption and so on. You actually have to embed intelligence and law enforcement officers in the agencies of the countries that you're working with. Yes, train them. Yes, provide them with some equipment and some specialist surveillance equipment and so on. But you've actually got to have people hands-on, operational, working with these people, as we did until 2006, and Tony Blair pulled the funding on it. But it's not just Turkey. These are long routes involving many countries, and 9 times out of 10, for disruption to be effective, you've got to act concurrently in a coordinated manner across a number of countries. I've led operations across 7 different countries at the same time. Single operations, hitting organised crime networks in all 7 countries simultaneously. That's what you've got to be able to do. So where are the agreements with Greece, with the Republic of Northern Macedonia, with Kosovo, with Serbia, with Bulgaria, with Romania, with Albania in this regard? There aren't any. What we're doing, again, is we're looking at an opportunity, quite rightly, with Turkey to get in there and start building the relationships that we need to make this effective. But there is still no strategic overview and framework for dealing with the push factors encouraging people to move, the methodology, the organised crime by which they're moving along the entire routes, and the pull factors as to why they come to the UK. That needs to be one overarching strategic national framework that involves everybody: Home Office, Foreign Office, transport. It's a cross-governmental effort here. And in my efforts in other countries, I've worked with them and said, look, you've got to get the whole of the cabinet round the table on this. Every government department has a role to play in making this work. From work and pensions, healthcare, education, the whole lot. If you don't have that, you end up firefighting and going after individual low-hanging fruit.
Well, this is it. I mean, this is it. It's all very well and good. I mean, it's great that we are at least trying to make the French do something. It's great that we are looking at the Germans and saying, please, can you help stop being a migrant boat hub? Turkey, again, if we can stop it very close to source, as it were, before they get onto the continent of Europe. But what we are not reducing is the pull factor in itself. As long as Britain remains the place where you will be the best treated and you will have the most luxuries as someone who arrives here illegally, then they are going to keep coming.